Hi again, everybody. I'm Jack Flanagan. Welcome to this week's edition of Inside Golf. Here's what's coming up on this week's show.
We're at Aronimink for the 33rd J. Sigel Invitational, a charity pro-am benefiting Penn Medicine's Abramson Family Cancer Research Institute, and the first invitational since J. Sigel's passing in April.
Recently, the 33rd annual J. Sigel Invitational was held at Aronimink Golf Club. Let's take a look.
Philadelphia lost a giant in April. After R.J. Siegel's passing, the 33rd J. Sigel Invitational at Aronimink carried on in his honor, benefiting Penn Medicine's Abramson Family Cancer Research Institute and continuing a tradition that has raised over $5 million.
This has always been a special event for 30 years, at a special place, a name for a special person, and we're thinking about Jay a lot today, and our best to Betty. And we're delighted to be here. We're both physician scientists. We run laboratories. We think that was the right career choice this morning, not to be a golf pro.
33 years ago, Jay started the tournament because his dad had recently passed away from cancer. So he wanted to have better outcomes because his father struggled with that. So in about a decade in, they looked around and said, you know, it's a bunch of guys out here. We should try and do something. So that evolved into prostate cancer. And then 16 years ago, I was diagnosed, and post-treatment at Penn, somebody said to me here, because I'm a member at Aronimink, somebody said to me, hey, there's this guy, Jay Sigel, and I said, well, I know who he is. And they said, well, he has a charity golf outing that helps raise money to try and cure prostate cancer and have better outcomes. So I said, I need to get involved in that. So I met Jay. I've been involved for the last 15 years, and about a half a dozen years ago, he looked at me and said, someday when I leave this earth, you're going to be in charge. Sadly, he's no longer with us. And so we had a really, really good relationship. I mean, he would be very direct with me when he needed to be. And most of our conversations were about the tournament and about each other's families and what was going on. So it really evolved into just a very close friendship that was important to both of us because we knew what the outcome of raising money for having better outcomes at Penn Medicine is.
I've known Jay Sigel almost my entire life, so for 40 years. And Jay was the chairman of the First Tier Greater Philadelphia, which was the organization that stemmed out of the Greater Philadelphia Scholastic Golf Association, which started back in 1981. Jay was heavily involved, so Jay was involved with that organization for 45 years. Jay passed the torch of leadership to Michael Brown back in 2017, and Jay was so passionate about First Tee, but he was mostly passionate about really cancer research and his own tournament. So he was really excited to be able to pass the torch to a great leader so that he could fully focus on his great desire to fund cancer research.
On behalf of the scientists at the Abramson Family Cancer Research Institute, who are working hard every day, including this very minute, working to find cures, working to find better treatments for patients with cancer.
I played golf this morning with two doctors that are sitting right here. We're this close from getting a pancreatic cancer. The outcome is 4% of the people survive. There's a blocker, an inhibitor. I'm not sure what the science is because I'm not a scientist, but they were telling me that they're really, really close to getting research to the point where the survivor rate is going to be 50%. If we can help push that number significantly higher, think about the impact that we're going to be having on thousands and thousands of people. That's our goal. So we're trying to have better outcomes, but we're also trying to get better access. Those two things are really what we're all about.
He was a good dude. He was really a good guy. Look at this tournament still going on, and I am so honored to be here tonight to be the guest speaker. There are some people in this world that are just really, really good people, conscious of their God, conscious of their family. He had some hardships coming through all that and seemed to handle them because of his faith in God and his faith and his ability to play golf. We both went through serious operations. He evidently got back to play the game that he loved. I never did, but that's okay. I got to play in the NFL for 3 years, and I'll take that rather than nothing. There's where we had another, we had another plus that the two of us shared. professional. He was playing with the professionals. I was playing with the professionals. And we talked a little bit about, hey, did you ever think you would be doing that when you were a kid? And I said, yeah, I used to go out in the backyard and pretend, and I would always pretend.
Well, I think to be fair, you'd start with the fact that he was supremely talented. You know, from the time he was a kid, it looked like he could be one of the best golfers of all time. He was supremely talented. But he went through a lot of difficult years due to a serious injury in college that was a great setback for him. And he rebuilt his game. That became kind of most of the reason why he remained an amateur, because he didn't feel he had the stamina to play golf every day. But he actually, you know, kind of carved out a place for himself in terms of his style of play, his ability to concentrate, to sort of block everything else out and focus on what had to be done at that moment. And he, in his early days, he had trouble with match play, for instance, and he went about, by the time he won his second U.S. Amateur, you'd have to say one of the greatest match play golfers of all time. He just dedicated himself to it.
So at his celebration of life, I stood up and I looked at everybody and I said, after he passed, I watched the Golf Channel and there were some things on NBC, and everybody got his golf career right, and how, you know, maybe the best amateur since Bobby Jones, arguably. Gary Player says that, not me. So that's a pretty good message if it's coming from Gary. But what I said is that they missed the important part of the story. There are people here on property today who are playing that were very involved with First Tee. Jay was involved with the First Tee of Philadelphia for over 30 years. Chairman of First Tee of Philadelphia for a long, long time. The impact he had on hundreds and hundreds of kids is profound. Take that and then also say this tournament and the $5.5 million that has been raised, yes, fabulous golfer, fabulous on the golf course, but think about the impact he had on kids, think about the impact that he's had on people's lives through cancer treatment and getting access, and he would be happy to know that we're celebrating that.
In this day, with nonprofits, and I see a lot of nonprofits, most of them, you know, are a flash in the pan, and you know, the longevity of this tournament and the fundraising that he's done is immeasurable, and it's really a remarkable accomplishment. It's so hard to have something, you know, to continue with the inertia that he did, and with the support that he has and the respect that he has from the golf community and the business community, I'm confident that it's going to continue to fund cancer research and do great things for our world and the local community.
How can we do more? You can text Sigel 2025 to this number, 76278. It's on these placards. Another way to contribute. Anyway, thanks so much, everybody. It really means a lot for a great event and a great person.
Well, thanks to everyone at the Jay Sigel Invitational and Aronimink Golf Club. So much great work that they do every single year to raise money for cancer research.